Hey everybody, Geekling Girl here, and happy Halloween! I am sorry that there wasn't a video last week, and that this week's video is late. Life kind of just got ahead of me, and I got really behind, and yeah. But hopefully after this week, everything will be back on schedule. So, yeah, so thanks for your patience. So today, I am going to be redrawing a old piece of art I did, except this time it's going to be a little different than my last one. Last time I redrew a piece of art, it was from 7 years ago, whereas this one is from 7 months ago, so we're gonna see how much I've improved in 7 months. So this is the picture I am going to be redrawing. I don't know what I was thinking when I did this, to be honest, and I kind of just didn't feel happy looking at it, so I decided to redraw it, and, you know, it's a witch, and witches are Halloween, so, yeah. So, let's get right into it. So, I definitely wanted to actually line everything, because originally I went for that lineless look that I thought was so cool, and honestly I didn't really execute it very well, clearly, and I prefer to line stuff now, so that was one big change that I had this time. And yeah, I tried to stay as true as I could to the original, but obviously there were some things I needed to change, so yeah. This honestly took me, like, way longer than I thought it would, to be honest. Like, it took so long. And, yeah, I forgot, like, just how many little details were in it. So, yeah. Yeah. So I'm doing the sketch here, and don't worry, I know that arm is looking a little bit weird. I do go and fix that later. Don't worry. Yeah. So this original drawing was like one of the first digital art pieces I ever did, actually. It was very close to the beginning. Which is kind of why I was still figuring out what I was doing with, like, the line art and stuff. So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. I noticed with the old one, like, the colors are very all over the place. Like, it's not very uniform in the colors, and, like, the colors I picked weren't really very, like, they weren't very cohesive with each other. So that was something I tried to do better with this one. And also just, like, the placement of everything. I tried to get that a bit better too, and, like, with the foreshortening and stuff. And you can see right here I'm fixing the hand. I figured that hand position might look better than, like, she looks like she's, like, very delicately perching her hand in a very uncomfortable way in the original, so I wanted her to actually be petting the owl, so yeah. So yeah, this is Lucinda from AFMAO, in case any of you hadn't picked that up sooner. This was actually the first piece of AFMAO fan art that I ever did, so that's kind of cool. I think probably the hardest thing is that shelf. That shelf, like, the bookshelf, always gives me trouble. Like, in the original I had issues with it, and in this one I had issues with it. It's a very tricky piece to try and get in there. But I think it looks better in this one, than it did originally. And I actually, you can see here, I actually looked at a reference for the skull, this time around, which I think was good. So here I have the line art. I didn't want to skip the line art entirely, just because I wanted you to be able to see it, but I just sped it up a little bit more, so this video didn't end up, like, 20 minutes long, because I don't have time to do that. But yeah, So lining this was pretty easy, except it just took forever because it had all those tiny little details in it. But I feel like it like turned out good. I'm still working on like backgrounds and things like that. I wouldn't say I'm like very like super skilled at stuff like that right now, but I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. It's kind of the first time I've ever like lined everything in the background, and I like the way it turned out. Yeah, so so I did that. Yeah, because I didn't line anything in that background and it took me forever. So in the original, and yeah, it was kind of difficult to line everything because there's a lot of straight lines and a lot of curved lines and like super curved lines, and those are like super hard for me to draw the like straight lines. And originally I had used the line tool for the background, but I didn't this time because it looked a little bit too stiff. Like I used the line tool and then I like filled it, which was kind of weird. And sorry if you can hear that in the background. That's my cat being loud. So sorry about that. So now I'm doing the base colors. I'm sure you can already tell that I'm kind of going for colors that are a little bit more complementary to each other instead of just like picking out random ones. And that's because I actually looked at a reference for the colors of Lucinda. So yeah, yeah, I actually looked at a reference this time around for her colors, and I think that made it a little bit more cohesive. So yeah, another thing that I wanted to fix in this one was the lighting and stuff. I think I was trying to go for a more like dramatic lighting in the original, but obviously I didn't really know what I was doing, and that kind of didn't happen. Yeah, because I didn't really understand like the layer modes and stuff. Like I only used shade and luminosity in the layer modes, but I never used multiply or overlay or screen, so that kind of yeah, I feel like that didn't really help in my case much. So yeah, and here I'm shading the hair. Honestly, I feel like this is like one of the hardest hair colors to shade because it's like you don't want it to look too brown, but you don't want it to look like super yellow either. Which I feel like always happens. Like whenever I draw Spark, her hair always ends up super yellow. I'm like, I don't want that. Oh yeah, and here I'm redoing the eyes. I just didn't like the way they looked, so I did them again and was a lot happier with the result that time around. Yeah, but this drawing took me forever, like I said before. This one, I actually started it before October even started. And so you would think that I would have had it done, but I didn't, because that's when Inktober began, and it was kind of a goal for me to do every day of Inktober, which I did. I actually did it. I did all of Inktober, which is crazy, but it took forever. Like, it just took a lot of time out of my day, and I just, like, didn't have time to do anything else, so that's kind of why videos were late and why this one is late. But yeah, I'll have a video going over my Inktober experience. That should hopefully be out next week, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. Yeah, Inktober was fun, but I am glad it's over. Just so I can have more time to do things. Yeah, because it was definitely a challenge. So here I'm starting to add the base colors for the background. I kind of took it in like sections. Like I did like the things on the table, and then I did like the bookshelf, and like I did all of those on like separate things. Yeah, but like by the end of this, I had so many layers. It was ridiculous. Like my computer is a pretty powerful computer, but like by the end it could not handle just how many layers I had. Like it was lagging quite a bit, which was pretty amazing, but yeah, there was a lot of layers for this one. Yeah, I think the base colors probably took the longest in this, just because there were so many tiny little details, and because of my line art, I kind of have to like put it in individually and stuff instead of using like the selection tool. I prefer to put it individually in, even if my line art is pretty clean, just because the selection tool sometimes doesn't work as well as I would like. So yeah, so that was one thing. But yeah, that shelf honestly like gave me trouble. It's looking a little bit weird right now still, just like in the way it's placed and stuff, but I ended up pulling it down more, just because I felt like that looked better. Originally I was gonna have the floor showing, but then I thought about it and I didn't really think that would work, so I didn't do that. Yeah, but there were just a lot of little details and stuff that I just, like, it just took forever to do this, but I think it was good practice. Yeah, especially, like, with the backgrounds and stuff, like, even seeing how much I've improved in backgrounds, like, it's kind of cool to see. Yeah. So I'm just finishing up with the base colors. I tried to kind of like desaturate some things a little bit more so it would look a little more cohesive. Yeah, and so I started playing around with the background a little bit. In the original, you can see there's that like red light in the background. And I thought about it and I was like, I don't even know where is that red light even coming from. It didn't really make sense, so I just, I made it green instead to kind of mimic the potion a bit. And I did play around with it once, which you just saw there, but I didn't really like the way that looked, so I ended up redoing that later. But it was good to kind of just see how everything was looking. So I started adding in the shading. We're at about the point where, so like from this point on, I did all of that yesterday because it was the only day where I like had time to do anything. So yeah, I did a lot yesterday. But it was actually quite fun to shade this one, which was kind of a differing experience from my first time around. I remember being kind of frustrated when I did the shading originally, because I actually was using like references off of Pinterest. Like it was just a smush of like how to draw stuff from Pinterest was pretty much that picture. And like literally like one potion would take me like 30 minutes, so I struggled a lot with it, and yeah, so I just didn't enjoy it much. Like at the time I liked how it turned out in the end despite everything, but now I just kind of cringe when I look at it, to be honest. Yeah. But this one, it was very fun to do the lighting in this one because like adding in the fire and the potion lighting and all of that, it was very interesting and very fun. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. And it's very interesting seeing like the difference in how I approached different things this time around, like like even just like the way I like colored and things is like way different. Obviously, because I've got lines in this one. But yeah, so we're just adding in more of that lighting. In the original, I feel like I did too much like bright lights. Like it felt like everything was glowing in that. like, in a way, I have a lot of glowing things in this, but, it's a little bit more, like, softer and not quite as in your face. Yeah. And then I added the shading on her. Originally, I used a luminosity layer in the original one, but that didn't really work. So I just did a normal layer, actually, with the green, and I think it looks a lot better. So, yeah. I still feel like there were things I could have done better with this one, but, yeah, I think it turned out pretty good still. Yeah. So, just finishing the shading and stuff. Overall, I had a really fun time with this drawing. It was very interesting. It was at about this point where the computer kind of just, like, gave out on me a bit, because I just had so many layers, and yeah, it just started lagging a bit and stuff, but yeah. Which I haven't, like, it's a pretty powerful computer, but it just could not. I finished up the shading on the things on the table, and that was pretty much it. It was very interesting, just, like, seeing how I would approach it differently now, and, yeah, it was a fun experience. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I am done now. And I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope you can see a bit of improvement. There's the comparison right there. Yeah, so let me know if there were things that you liked in the original better, or if you like the new one better. So yeah, and if you like what you see, maybe you can stick around a little while and subscribe to the channel, and make sure to leave a like on this video, and yeah, make sure to check out the description for all my social media links and some other fun info. I've recently opened up for commissions, so there will be a pinned comment down below and a link in the description for more information about that. And I hope you all have a wonderful day and have a wonderful Halloween with lots of candy and fun stuff. And until next time.